Okay, this is Clawpop321 and I'm going to go over my second tutorial, and it's mainly going to include what the last tutorial had and to review over some more things that I did not describe earlier. This is the same file right here. As you can see, each line has its own semicolon at the end. It's basically a period at the end of the sentence for PHP as a code. Visual Basic does not need this. However, most C-based languages require a semicolon at the end of things. Now, you can have multiple statements in one thing. Like you can do this, where you can have everything separated, but they do not need lines each time like how Visual Basic does, but they do need to have separations so that the parser knows what to do. Now, as you noticed in one of the pages before, it did not echo the happy constant each time because I commented it out. These two slashes mean that it's commenting this line. If I went and I commented this, it would comment this whole line with all these statements within. However, if I went here and made that, then these two statements still get executed, but this one gets ignored. Also, I'm going to this time go over the double quotes and the single quotes difference. Okay, as you can see, we have the single quotes here. Well, we can also convert it to double quotes, where double quotes take longer to execute because they can perform more things. Like, I could do \n for new line, or \r for character return, or \t for tab. It can be used for short things too. Now, if I did this, I can just have the variables directly into the thing without any break into the in the text. As my editor can tell, these are variables within this double quote, and it separates it out from the rest of the code. Now I'm going to comment this out, and we're going to view this page in Firefox, and I'm using WAMP. I prefer WAMP because it simply just works. Tutorial folder, and then I'm going to go to today's, and it looks like I have an undefined variable. Why? Okay, now it seems that I have in here I have an error because because it says that there is no S inside this array. Well, if we do a simple check, if or sign is set, now this function is set sees that the variable exists. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do request, and I'm going to put in S for the array, and I'm going to put this to where it does a check for an error, and then I'm going to set a default here. I'm going to say simple equals 0, and that should fix it. As you can see, it has. Now if I put inside the top here S equals 3, it works just like it did yesterday. Now, as you can see, the old statement right there that we used yesterday is not being used, and I'm using double quotes. Double quotes can do other things as I've shown you before, but like if instead of you doing this, you can just do \n for a new line. Also, some more rules to go over. That now Usually in PHP you do not need to put this error check in there. However, my server is configured on default to be very strict. Okay, now I have not introduced you to the if and else statement yet, so I'll describe it to you. If you're saying if something, well, the stipulation must go within parentheses after the if. So let's say 1 equals 1. Well, in PHP, the thing is that if you're trying to say if something equals something else, you gotta say double equals. Why? Because a single equals means you're setting something like down here. Double equals means you're checking for something. Now, 1 of course equals 1, so this is going to execute each and every time. But if we're saying else, which will never happen, then you can execute other code like echo 1 is broken and then end it. You can also, back in what is true, go 1 is 1 and then end it. But then also one thing is that you see these curly brackets. That means that it's a block of code. So I can have multiple statements of other stuff and nothing bad happens. However, if I take out this, if I take out those code blocks, then then the else only applies to this right here. The same with that. Now, if I tried saying something else right here, then this else is not expected because it expects it directly after this statement right here. And since this is taking up that place, it takes it out. Now, if I take this back out, it will work. And that's the end of the if statement there. Now, in the future, I'll show you other things like the for, the while, and the for each things, or loops, to handle data in certain ways. Pretty much the end of it there. And that's the end of today's tutorial. Signing off, Plop Up 321.